Hi.
Welcome to Drinking the Kool-Aid.
Whoa, all right. Welcome.
Whoa.
Oh no, I did not know it was going to keep going that long.
I'm Megan.
I'm Hannah.
This one might be a little sillier today because we are recording early and I don't know what's going to happen to us.
I quite literally just woke up like 20 minutes ago.
And I didn't even sing her awake.
Thank God for that.
Sometimes Hannah likes it when
Hannah does not like it. I do not love it.
We're going on a trip in our little rocket ship.
It's not my favorite, actually.
I don't even know if that's really the words.
That is the words. I've told you this. We've been over this. No, we're not getting into this again. We've been over this so many times.
I picked up that song in a hotel room one time.
And it never left.
Yeah.
It's just been living there ever since.
Yeah.
And I don't love it. They really do like to wake me up in abrupt ways, though, because, like, they're not very nice to me. She sent her friend in once. Well, actually, we had him as a guest on the podcast. She sent in Al once, and he shook my bed while I was sleeping. And I'm telling you what, I have never flown out of bed so fast in my entire life.
To be fair, I didn't necessarily know what he was going to do.
You let him in my room while I was sleeping.
Yeah, I did do that.
I mean, come on, it's Al.
Yeah.
I'm lucky he didn't, like, hide in my closet and do some creepy shit to wake me up.
Oh, maybe next time.
Oh, no. Okay, we got distracted.
Okay. Well, today's story came from a 2020 episode.
Oh?
And Hannah snuck a peek of it.
I did?
Okay, good. You don't even remember.
Oh, this is,
You'll remember the spot.
This is when I was, okay, for the record, I did not do it intentionally. My bathroom is at the top of the stairs, and she was in the living room, literally at the bottom of the stairs, watching something, and I'm straightening my hair, and I got nothing else to look at but a giant TV, so I'm like,
mind your business.
But I definitely don't remember what even it was about anymore, so there you go.
Cool. All right, well, this one's gonna take a really strange turn for us.
Don't they all?
Yes. But if you grew up in the 90s, you've probably watched the Power Rangers.
Ayo!
Or at least heard of them. I was the pink one for Halloween one year.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
Oh. I wonder if that was before, because I don't remember that at all.
I have no idea. I just remember being so thrilled to be a pink Power Ranger.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, the Power Rangers are, I guess, essentially protectors of the Earth. But have you ever heard of the Power Rangers curse?
No.
Okay, good. Essentially, there's been a lot of weird deaths, and they seem to be at fairly young ages for most of them, too. And so a lot of people have talked about the curse of the Power Rangers, but it's not just deaths that are attributed to it. It's like crimes and different things as well.
I'm so confused already as to why it's called the Power Ranger curse.
Okay. I am going to do a little quick spin through of most of the people that are like attributed to this curse.
Okay.
And I can tell you without a doubt I am going to say names wrong, so buckle up for this.
All right.
The Red Ranger, Pua Magasiva, was found dead in his home at age 38, and the cause of death is still unknown.
Oh, wait. Okay, so this is going to be people associated directly with Power Rangers.
Yes.
Got it.
The Yellow Ranger, Tui Trang, died in a car accident at age 27. Eric Frank worked behind the scenes on Power Rangers and eventually landed the role of Gold Ranger. He died at age 29 of an unknown illness. Ricardo Medina Jr. played Red Lion Ranger, and he ended up slaying his roommate with a sword.
Whoa.
And that's actually when I first heard about this Power Rangers curse.
All right.
White Mystic Ranger Peta Rudder died at age 50 from a brain tumor. Richard Janelle played Ernie, and he died from a heart attack at age 47. Mashiko Soga played Rita, and she died from pancreatic cancer at age 68.
Good Lord.
Robert L. Monahan was the voice of, I think it's called Zordon, and he died at age 43 from a heart aneurysm. Richard Rabago played Master Lee. He died at age 68. A cause of death still hasn't been released. Maurice Mendoza played Richie. Died at age 39 from unknown causes.
Wait, so far, there was no pink in there, was there?
No.
Oh, you were in the clear. Nice choice.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Edward Lawrence Albert played Mr. Collins. He died at age 55 from lung cancer. And Bob Pappenbrook was a voice actor that died at age 50 from a lung condition. So I think several of these are kind of weird deaths. Just saying.
I obviously do not love when people die, but I do love a good, movie or TV show curse. I can't lie.
They are interesting.
They really are.
Yes. And maybe it's a coincidence that deaths at a young age and, trouble seem to follow the Power Rangers.
Oh.
But we are adding in another character to this list today. This one did not die. They took 3 lives in a twisted and disgusting way.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's, all right.
So now you see where we're going here. And I do want to clarify, I do not believe that the murders in this story are due to a curse. I just wanted to bring it up. It's something I've heard about for many years.
Right.
So this story takes place at Newport Beach, which is located in between Los Angeles and San Diego. It's an upscale area that stretches for miles, and lots of huge boats or yachts are docked there. Tom Hawks and his brother Jim grew up on a farm in California. They liked to go surfing and sailing, and eventually, Tom Hawks went into the military, and then he was a probation officer after that. Jim Hawks became a police officer and then went on to be police chief.
Geez, they're all just stepping up.
Yes. Tom got married and they had 2 children, but the marriage did not work out. After the divorce, Tom took his 2 boys and he raised them. Tom was extremely into fitness. He was built like big muscles. He met Jackie, and she was really down to earth, and everybody just loved her. Tom's boys started calling her mom, and they were so happy to have her in their lives.
Aww.
Yeah, it was, from what I saw, it was such a good family. They were an adventure-loving couple and really family-oriented. Tom and Jackie were very frugal, and they saved their money pretty well over the years. Tom invested in some properties and made enough to retire in his 50s, but they just weren't going to be able to spend a lot. They had to really watch it.
Right.
So they didn't have a big amount of money, but they were going to live pretty comfortable. Tom had a dream of buying a boat that they could both live on and just travel around. He went to every boat show that he could attend, and he subscribed to every yachting magazine as well. He loved it.
Clearly.
And his family said he was always tinkering around in his garage workshop, but he could be lured out when his wife would announce. She'd be like, "Hey, your new boating magazine arrived," and he'd come running.
That's adorable that he had that much passion for something. I love when people have that much and give it their all.
Yeah, super cool. And so they eventually ended up paying $300,000 for a boat, and it was named Well Deserved.
Wait, it was named Well-Deserved?
Yes.
That's amazing!
Yeah. And I know, and the family was like, trust me, it really was well-deserved. Like, they worked hard for this thing. So it was a 55-foot yacht, and they put a bunch of work into it. They updated it and installed a high-end GPS. Tom added wooden racks for a kayak and windsurfer. A wooden locker up on deck held barbells and other weights so he could keep up on his fitness.
Oh my God.
And there were fishing poles and gear stashed in a compartment, and the boat was really tidy and well-maintained.
I love this.
Yeah. And the renovations took about 9 months, but Well-Deserved was finally ready to sail the sea. The couple lived on the boat for 2 years.
Wait, they actually lived on it?
Yeah. Yeah, he retired and they lived on this boat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But they did find out that Tom's son, Matthew, was going to be a father soon. Now, this would be their first grandchild, and
man.
Tom and Jackie were so excited. And when Jackie was 22 years old, she was actually in a motorcycle accident that caused internal damage. So she couldn't ever have children of her own.
Aww.
Right. So she was really excited to now have a grandchild.
Right.
They decided to sell the yacht. They wanted to be involved in the new baby's life. They were going to buy a smaller boat and they would just dock it in Mexico, get a small house, and then that way they could still be close enough to visit their grandson over in Arizona.
That is the sweetest thing that he's willing to give all that up.
I know. Yes, I agree. And at this time, Tom was 57 and Jackie was 47, but they were living their dream life. They decided to bypass getting a broker and just sell the boat on their own. The Well-Deserved was listed in Yachting World magazine for $435,000. It didn't take long for Tom to receive a call from a buyer. The person was young, 25 years old, but they told Tom that they were a child actor that had also made money in real estate, so they had plenty of cash. Tom and Jackie went on one last trip in their big boat to Catalina Island on November 15th, 2004, and they had a little party. Tom's brother, Jim, met up with them as well. On the trip, Tom and Jackie told their friends and family that they sold the boat and the sale was going to officially take place in a few days. After this, Tom and Jackie vanished.
Damn it.
I know.
I was just waiting for it to come crashing down.
You like them so much. Even though they often traveled, they always kept in touch with their friends and family, and people could easily get a hold of them. So it was really abnormal when they stopped returning all calls. Their son Ryan was trying to locate them, and he ended up calling his Uncle Jim since, he used to be chief of police for Carlsbad Police Department. Jim drove over to the spot where he knew that Tom and Jackie kept their yacht, and there it was, in its usual spot in Newport Beach.
Yeah, my next question was if they found the Well-Deserved, or if it was just them or if they disappeared with it, I mean.
Yeah, nope, there it was.
Interesting.
Jim did notice that the couple's car was nowhere to be found, though. So Jim Hawks took out his business card that had his phone number, and he placed this on the yacht asking for the current owners to contact him. As far as his family knew, the Hawks were supposed to meet up with a new yacht buyer, so they may be the last person to have contact with them. Before Jim left, he took his friend Carter Ford on the yacht with him, and they looked around for any clues. The Well-Deserved boat was had an 11-foot dinghy, which is like a small boat that you pull behind a yacht or a big boat. While the men were looking around, they noticed that the dinghy wasn't tied properly to the dock.
Which I feel like weird only because of how, particular the other dude is.
Exactly, yes.
He's got everything in his boat perfectly neat and whatnot. And, after all the research and shit he's done, I just feel like he wouldn't leave something like that.
Well, and that's how they felt, too, because they're like, okay, Tom and Jackie have been boating for like ever, you know, they would know how to properly tie a knot.
And I just feel like even if he was like in a hurry or something, he would still properly tie it.
Exactly.
Just with how much passion he has about boating, it's like I don't feel like he could walk away without doing something like that.
Well, and everybody is saying this is his prized possession and he's so meticulous. So yeah, I agree. And they also noticed when they looked around that the boat wasn't neat and tidy like it normally was.
Ah, there it is.
And so Jim took out that business card and wrote on it that he was a retired police officer and he wanted to talk to the person that bought the boat. So he's like, here's my contact information. And then he placed the card on the boat, I believe by the window where they would see it. On November 15th, 2004, friends and family members knew that Tom and Jackie were meeting up with a prospective buyer and doing a test drive with their boat. In fact, Jackie left a message for a friend that day stating that they were out at sea doing the test drive and she would be in touch soon. Tom had told family members that the buyer was a child actor. His brother Jim, the retired officer, did get a call after he left that business card on the boat. The caller was named Jennifer DeLeon, and she explained that her and her husband Skylar did purchase the boat and paid the full amount in cash. She said they did not know where the Hawks were, and they actually wanted to find them because they had some questions about this boat. Jennifer said that after they bought the boat, the Hawks drove off and told them that they were going to Mexico. Jim thought that the call was a bit strange, and he decided to call a friend of the Hawks, and her name was Patricia. She was a really trusted friend that was in charge of their taxes and finances when they were out at sea.
Damn, she must be real trusted.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I suppose you'd have to have somebody because how would you pay anything out there?
I was real surprised when you said they had a car, to be honest. I was like, I didn't even think of that because they're on a boat so often. It didn't even, yeah.
Yeah, true. Well, they figure if the boat had actually been sold, then the money should be deposited into their bank account, right?
Yeah, good point.
Well, there wasn't any activity in the account, and Patricia was not aware of the transaction. So Jim was like, yeah, I gotta call the police right now.
Yeah.
He had already done his homework and was able to give the police enough details so that they could get started right away on this.
That's amazing.
Yes. Skylar DeLeon was the one that purchased the boat. Police saw that Skylar was a convicted felon who happened to be on probation at that time for burglary. Skylar was originally named John Julius Jacobson.
Holy shit.
Right. That's a mouthful. But changed the name later. Skylar never made it big in Hollywood and was an extra in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with 2 minor non-speaking roles.
Oh, snap.
So it's like, okay, do we really need to brag about being a child actor here?
I was just like, oh, Power Rangers, that's what I'm hearing over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but for real, wait, was that all his parts? Was that it?
I think he had like some little minor things in commercials.
Okay.
But the Power Rangers thing was like the biggest role.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like much of a child actor, but
okay.
Whatevs.
Well, I mean, Skylar actually hated acting and flat couldn't remember the lines.
Well, that's so kind of an issue.
A little difficult.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Skylar's father was known for yelling on set when Skylar forgot things or didn't do very well, and they ended up getting a bad reputation. As a child, Skylar was accused of being too feminine by the father.
Oh, God.
He also started abusing Skylar, who eventually ended up joining the Marines. And this was an odd choice, but it seemed like Skylar just wanted approval so desperately.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, especially if his dad is sitting there telling him he's like too feminine and shit all the time.
Right.
Like, I feel like that would be something that he's trying to prove that he's like more of a man type deal.
Yeah.
Which is just absolutely ridiculous that anybody feels they have to do that. But
Yeah. And this is the point where John Julius Jacobson changed their name to Skylar De Leon. And the reason cited on the paperwork stated that they didn't want to be associated with their father.
Okay.
So, there. Skylar's wife, Jennifer, had a very different kind of life. She grew up in a really religious home and had seemingly loving parents. Like, things were good for her. The two met online and they decided to meet up at a mall. They hit it off, and after a year of dating, they got married. Jennifer was a hairstylist, and Skylar did not have any career or job. They got to the point where they owed over $90,000 in debt. I know. I was like, even typing it, I was like, oh God.
Oh my, yeah.
I'm glad I'm sitting.
That is rough.
Yeah. And things were so bad, they actually had to live in the garage next to Jennifer's parents' house. So they had like an extra garage out there.
Okay.
And it was not equipped with a bathroom or a kitchen, so they still had to keep going into the main house for that.
Right.
The couple also had a baby girl, and another baby was on the way. So, I don't know, with this information, does that sound like a couple who can afford a boat?
One that's like over $400,000 too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so. A detective got a search warrant and was sent to the boat to look around. He found a Target receipt, and the purchase was for bleach, garbage bags, and Tums.
Stop it!
Like, what?
Oh no.
So you gotta like soothe your stomach while you're trying to clean this up?
I guess so.
Like, what are you doing?
Oh man.
Target security pulled up the purchase, and they had no idea who the guy on the camera was.
Oh, like it wasn't
them.
Oh.
And the police realized, oh shit, that's Jennifer's father.
Wait.
Yeah. So Jennifer's father was the one that went to Target and made this purchase.
Okay.
So they asked him, why did you make this purchase? And he was like, oh, because my daughter bought a boat and she asked me to go pick up these items so that she could do some cleaning. Well, police asked where Jennifer was, and her dad said, oh, Jennifer and Skylar are down the street. They're actually helping at a church. They're doing some cleaning with them. This kind of made police feel a little better. They were at least more at ease for the moment. And so they went over to the church to talk to Jennifer. And
they were actually at the church?
They were actually there.
You know, typically when they say they're at the church, they're not actually at the church.
No, here they are volunteering their time at the church when the police are there. Okay. So they go talk to Jennifer, and she's like, oh, we've been trying to get a hold of the Hawks. She explained that they still had some of their belongings on the boat, and she was like, we don't want this stuff. We want to give it back. Skylar had a bill of sale that had fingerprints, signatures, and had been notarized. The police were like, okay, I mean, everything looks legit with this sale, but things just aren't adding up. Like, something's wrong here.
Yep.
And they were like, how did Jennifer and Skylar go from having no money, living in her parents' garage, to suddenly having enough money to buy a boat? Skylar says, actually, I can explain that. So he says the previous armed burglary that he was on probation for, well, it was a drug ripoff. Skylar says the money is illegal, and the only way to get rid of it is by money laundering. The transaction took place in a parking lot, and the Hawks were handed a briefcase full of cash. And it was stacks of $100 bills. The cop that was interviewing Skylar worked narcotics and knew that you would never get a bunch of perfectly stacked $100 bills.
You're damn straight.
You would get like a mixture of whatever's there. Skylar says on the day of the deal, the briefcase was opened and Tom saw all of the money and was like, whoa, shit. Like, close that thing. And he appeared to be excited, but really nervous about this transaction. After the deal was complete, Tom and Jackie got in their vehicle and drove away. Detectives had a video of Skylar and Jennifer attempting to pull money from the Hawks' account.
What?
Uh-huh. And they found out that they had been given power of attorney.
What?
Skylar De Leon had complete control of their assets.
How the fuck?
I know, I seriously wrote in here like, what? When Jennifer and Skylar attempted to get money from the account, they went into the bank and handed the power of attorney paperwork to the bank manager. It was properly notarized and looked legit, but the bank manager was like, They denied it because they felt like something was just weird.
Wow.
Yeah, which I was really surprised because if you're handing over documents that are legit, I'm surprised that they're like, not getting involved. No way. Skylar told police that they had dual citizenship and was experienced in buying properties in Mexico. The plan was to help the Hawks get a property in Mexico since they gave the De Leons such a good deal on the boat. Skylar says, we also have witnesses to all of this as well. So Skylar explains that Alonzo McChain was a witness on the bill of sale. He was a friend from Mexico and they met in jail.
Oh, it sounds legit.
Right. Alonzo was a guard in the jail, and Skylar was able to get work release and would leave jail during the day and go hang out with Alonzo.
Holy crap.
Right, which I just am baffled that that's something that can happen, but it did. Police went and interviewed Alonzo, and he had a very similar story to Skylar. They also brought in the notary, and she had the same story as well. Well, what the fuck? I mean, what happened to Tom and Jackie Hawks?
This is very, very, very weird.
Right? The police at this point had nothing, but they were like, something is going on here. We just don't know what it is. They decided to go to the media, which they were like, we hate having to do this, but there's really no choice at this point.
Yeah.
So they posted a picture of the vehicle that was missing. They said that Tom and Jackie had a silver 1998 Honda CR-V with an Arizona license plate 774 CPH.
You're sounding very specific, so I feel like somebody's going to call it in real quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they did.
Okay.
So a woman in Mexico calls up and she's like, hey, I'm looking at this vehicle. Same license plate. It's right in front of me.
Oh, God.
And the vehicle was parked in a lot by her home. She sent the police a picture, and sure enough, there it was. Tom and Jackie's vehicle is sitting in Mexico. The vehicle was parked in a mobile home lot in front of a man's house. So the police knock on the door, and he's like, oh, this isn't my car. It belongs to a friend.
Oh, of course it does.
And they're like, oh, Tom and Jackie? And he's like, no, Skylar De Leon.
Holy crap.
And right there, the police were like, oh, Skylar murdered the Hawks.
Yep.
One of the investigators had an old boating buddy named Salty Sam.
That is the best thing I've heard all day.
I feel like everybody needs to know a Salty Sam.
I need a Salty Sam in my life now.
Yeah, so holla, we need one.
Salty Sam, are you out there?
Give us a call. Well, on a whim, he gives Salty Sam a call, and he's like, got a question for you. If you're trying to figure out if a murder was committed on a boat, what would you look for first? And immediately, Salty Sam was like, oh my gosh, look for a missing anchor.
Holy shit, that's brilliant.
Oh my God. So the detective hurries to the boat, and sure enough, they see that there's only one anchor, but every photo of the boat shows 2 anchors.
It's fucking brilliant.
One is missing. Oh.
Good job, Salty Sam.
Right? He sounds... Well, actually, we don't know. They didn't say if Salty Sam was female or male, so they sound lovely.
They do sound lovely.
Very smart. Police call Skylar back in for an interview, and this is the part that Hannah walked out on. He fucking shows up with his baby daughter.
That's right. Oh my God.
I'm like watching this TV show, and Hannah's at the top of the stairs going, he shows up with his baby? What?
I was freaking out about it.
Yeah.
But I had actually completely forgotten that's what it was. Now I remember.
Yeah.
But it was gone.
Right.
God, that is just insane, though. Why the hell would you show up to court with your child?
Well, to the police interview.
I mean, to the police. I meant,
I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, legit.
I
Like,
know.
And it's not like a kid that can be left alone. It's like a baby.
A baby. Yeah. I know. It. Skylar.
It's just like, let's bring him into this environment. No big deal. It's fine.
Well, Skylar was arrested the next day on December 17th, 2004, and they did this on suspicion of money laundering so that they'd actually be able to hold Skylar. The garage that Skylar and Jennifer lived in was searched, and they found Tom and Jackie's laptop, and they also found their video camera.
That's strange.
Isn't it? The video camera had a lot of Tom and Jackie's adventures, and then all of a sudden...
Stop! Tell me they didn't record it.
No.
Okay.
But it's still sick. So the footage just cuts out and jumps to Skylar and Jennifer, and they fucking filmed their family having Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh my... Using...
Yeah. On their video camera. I was just like, are you kidding me? That's on another level, dude.
Yeah.
Well, there was also another crazy find in this garage apartment. Police found a business card for LA police officer Joe Bahena. He is...
Oh, wait, just kidding.
It's not the brother.
Okay, I wasn't, because I remember, like, a card being left, and I wasn't sure. Okay, sorry.
Nope. So he is a detective that's assigned at Interpol to act as a liaison when there's a crime committed that Mexican police need investigated.
Okay.
So police called up Joe Bahena and they're like, hey, why is your business card in the possession of our suspect? And Detective Bahena was like, oh, I've got a story for you.
Of course he does.
He says... there's a man named John Jarvie that was found with his throat slit, and Skylar is a suspect in the case.
Oh.
What? So now we need to rewind a little bit here. A year earlier, in December 2003, John Jarvie and Skylar met in jail. Skylar told him that their family was very wealthy and there was going to be a really big investment deal. So John Jarvie's told, all you need to do is give me $50,000 in cash, and then we'll drive down to Mexico and do the deal.
He's really telling people he's got a lot of money.
Yes. And I think that that's also why he uses that little shtick of like, oh, I'm a child actor.
Exactly.
You know? After John Jarvie was released, he kept in touch with Skylar and decided, you know what? Let's do this deal. Skylar was on work release one day and met up with John Jarvie. John brought the money and they drove to Mexico where Skylar murdered him. Skylar brought him down to a ravine, slit his throat, and left him to die by the side of the road.
You know, it's one thing to, like, when I hear that, like, they murdered somebody they didn't know, but, like, when you literally were sitting in jail with him for however long,
yeah,
like, you knew this person pretty damn well,
mm-hmm.
and he's just fine at just leaving him on the side of the road. Peace out.
And I need to point out again, Skylar was in jail at this time when this happened.
Oh.
So, How did Skylar leave jail, cross the border, murder someone, and get back without anybody finding out?
That is really...
I mean,
yeah.
Like, police did end up interviewing Skylar about this murder, but it doesn't seem like they had anything that necessarily tied Skylar to the murder for sure. But, I mean, I don't know a lot about the work release programs, but are we just, I mean, clearly we are just letting people go on the merit system. Good luck. Hopefully you're going to work.
Right. I mean, I feel like they're a little bit, I guess, I don't know.
Whoa. I mean, that's scary.
Yeah.
So things just were not adding up to the police, and there was one piece to the puzzle that really stumped them. Everything was pointing towards a murder case, but the fact that there was a notary present at the time of the deal was so odd.
So weird.
I mean, it would mean that the deal really did take place, and they needed to know what happened to the money if that's the case.
Right.
Investigators decided to bring the notary, Kathleen Harris, in again. She had already been questioned a few times. She was a professional notary and had no criminal background. She said she watched the transaction, got fingerprints, and notarized the documents. She was adamant that she followed all normal procedures to notarize, but she seemed pretty nervous.
What?
And investigators asked Kathleen to describe. They were like, okay, tell us about Tom and Jackie. What did they look like?
She couldn't describe them.
Well, she described Tom, no problem, like to a T. And then when she gets to Jackie, she says Jackie had brown curly hair. Well, that's not true. Not even close. Jackie had cut her hair, spiked it, and dyed it blonde.
Yeah, it's a little different.
So I think we missed it. After investigators cracked down on her pretty hard, they got a call from her attorney, and her story had changed.
Dun, dun, dun.
So she says she never met Tom and Jackie Hawks. She was paid to notarize the documents and to backdate them.
Damn it.
Boom. Case just blew up.
Did it say how much they paid her for that? I'm just curious.
No, it did not say how much.
I just feel like with no criminal background, it probably had to be a decent amount.
I'm confused as to what the story, I would have liked to know that information too, because what did they tell her that in her head made sense to backdate it?
Right.
Like, you have to know something bad is happening here.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Alonzo McChain, the guy who was the prison guard when Skylar was locked up, decided to cooperate to save his own ass. Skylar told Alonzo about being an international hitman that only murders bad people. So, not if they're good, they just have to really be bad. Skylar receives a contract to do a hit on someone. They're brought on a boat and then tossed in the sea. Skylar explained that help was needed with an upcoming contract, and Alonzo would get $1 million for doing the job. They would also get the boat and the couple's savings. When Skylar and Alonzo actually met Tom and Jackie Hawks, things did not go super smooth right off the bat. Remember, Tom was a probation officer previously.
Oh, that's right.
And so he felt that something was off right away with the two of these people. Tom was real suspicious. So Skylar called his wife, Jennifer, and said, hey, I need you to bring our baby girl on the boat and put this couple at ease. And unfortunately, it worked. I mean, a pregnant lady standing there with a baby in her arms.
They've got a grandchild on the way, so of course they're going to suck her into it easier.
Exactly. So now everybody's calm. Skylar did realize that Tom was a bodybuilder. He was a pretty big dude. So he was not going to easily be overpowered. A friend of Skylar's, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Like, really? John F. Kennedy? Come on here.
Oh, shit. I didn't even connect that.
Like, come on. Well, he was brought in to be the muscle. John Kennedy was a former member of the insane Crips gang in Long Beach. So Tom and Jackie Hawks accidentally boarded the boat with a gang member, a convict, and a jail security officer.
Holy shit.
Like, oh my gosh. The plan was to make sure Tom and Jackie got separated during the boat trip. Skylar and John Kennedy went downstairs with Tom and Jackie, or with Tom, and then Jackie was up in the kitchen. Jackie started hearing some commotion, and that was the sound of John Kennedy restraining Tom in the bedroom. Alonzo McChain had stayed in the kitchen, and it was his job to restrain her. Tom and Jackie were handcuffed and then laid on the bed together. Jackie was begging for her life.
Oh, no.
And kept saying that she just wanted to stay alive to see her new grandson.
No.
I know. And she kept saying, like, how could you do this to us? We met your wife and daughter. Stop. Dude, this'll shatter your heart wide open.
Before you do that, can I just ask, is like his chick just totally okay with all this shit?
Well, she is not on the boat at this time. It's
okay. But, like, so does she not know about it then? Or does she know? She knows, right?
Oh, she knows.
She knows. Okay, I was just making sure.
She knows. So they're on the bed, and Tom tried to comfort his wife, and they were, like, back to back. And he started stroking her hands and kept telling her, everything's fine because we're going together.
Not only, like, are they literally not even able to, like, see each other anymore. They're literally back to back. But, like, he chooses to use his last words to comfort her.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't.
I know. And it sucks, too, because seriously, when you look at the photos, like, if Tom hadn't been so blindsided, I really think he could have taken them because Skylar is small. I mean, obviously he brought muscle with him.
Right.
And weapons and different things, but Tom was a big dude. Tom and Jackie were forced to sign the documents at this point and to give their boat to Skylar. Jackie was so damn smart. She spelled her name incorrectly. Her last name is Hawks, like Hawks, but she left off the S.
Holy shit.
Now, someone did go back on the documents later and added an S, but it's very different from her signature. Yeah, it didn't match at all. And that could have been the reason that the bank, manager picked up on and was like, yeah, we're not doing this. That was never actually explained, like, what tipped her off.
Smart as hell, though.
Yeah. It's like sending a signal out to everybody that, something bad happened.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's just one little single freaking letter, and it's like you don't know if it's going to get out there or not, but if it does, it could crack everything open.
Exactly. The couple was told that they would get to live if they signed over the boat to Skylar. Obviously, that's not true.
They always say that you'll get to live. If you are seeing them and you don't have you don't have your eyes covered and you are seeing that person, I can, like,
almost guarantee.
Yeah, the chances of you getting out are very, very slim.
Yeah.
If you have seen them,
still try.
Obviously still try, but if you've seen them, like, their face, it's basically game over.
Yeah. Skylar set the GPS for the deepest part of the ocean, 3,500 feet, and then grabbed an anchor. Tom and Jackie were handcuffed to the anchor. Tom did kick back really hard and ended up getting Skylar in the groin.
Good.
Right. Deserved a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Skylar smirked, grabbed the anchor, and tossed it off the boat.
Oh, hell.
The rope pulled tight, and Tom and Jackie were violently yanked across the deck. Jackie's head smashed into the boat, and they were ripped off the boat and pulled into the sea while they were alive.
Yeah.
Like, what? That is so scary to me.
Yeah. I really don't even like thinking about it, to be honest.
No, like, I'm pretty sure, especially at the deepest part, it would go really fast, which I hope it does.
All I could think, too, was that, like, I hope when she hit her head, it
knocked her out.
Yeah.
I agree. I know. I was like, gosh, I really hope that was actually helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Skylar was such a piece of shit. And then goes, woohoo!
Fucking asshole.
Like, how disgusting
I
could you be to be like, woohoo?
That is the scum of the earth right there.
Yeah. Then leans over and watches as Tom and Jackie disappeared and the ripples stop.
Making me really uneasy right now. I am feeling so uncomfortable. The thought of him watching them sink, I can't.
I know.
It is making me really feel gross.
Ooh. And the boat was then turned around, and John Kennedy grabs a beer out of the fridge. He goes and grabs Tom's beer.
Yep.
Then grabs his fishing pole and decides to just fish on the way back. Like, that's how casual they were about this. We're just gonna fish.
I hate everything about this.
It's so bonkers. I can't even understand it.
It's just so vile.
Yeah. Skylar's wife, Jennifer DeLeon, was offered the deal. Like, get out of jail free card. Police offered her immunity if she testified against Skylar, and she chose not to take it. And I'm so glad she made that decision. She was arrested just weeks after giving birth to her second child. As the evidence unfolded, police realized Skylar was never the one in charge of this murder plot.
Oh.
It was Jennifer DeLeon. They realized that Skylar called Jennifer several times on the day of the murder.
So Jennifer leads him through it.
Oh, yeah.
And then he carries it out.
Exactly. And so Jennifer received a call when they got to the beach, when the boat headed out, when the hawks were tied to the anchor. Like, she was there for the whole thing. She wasn't physically on the boat.
But she was there.
She was there. She wanted a fairy tale life with nice things, and she wanted to move out of her parents' place. Jennifer DeLeon received 2 life sentences, and that was without the possibility of parole.
Fuck yeah.
John F. Kennedy, the muscle, was sentenced to death.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I honestly did not see that coming.
He played a pretty big part.
I know. I just didn't see it coming, honestly.
Yeah. Alonzo McChain, the prison guard, received a 20-year sentence since he cooperated and really made it so that this thing could happen, or that they could find out who did what.
Right.
We learn later that there was another possible motive for the murder. You may have noticed that I was trying to be quite careful about how I spoke about Skylar throughout the story. That's because Skylar later came out as transgender, and a possible motive could have been for the money to pay for surgery.
Oh.
In 2009, Skylar tied a sheet around their penis and attempted to cut it off.
Oh.
It didn't work, and Skylar was rushed to the hospital. Investigators discovered that Skylar had put money down on a gender reassignment surgery, and Skylar was found guilty of the murders of Tom and Jackie Hawks, and then also the previous murder of John Jarvie, the guy murdered in Mexico.
Right.
Skylar was sentenced to death, and laws have changed over time, and Skylar was able to transition, goes by she, and changed her name to Skylar Preciosa de Leon, and has been moved to a women's jail.
Wait.
Uh-huh.
What?
Yeah, and I'm going to try to be careful in the things that I say here, because I'm all sorts of confused.
I am too.
First off, I am all for, people transitioning. That doesn't ever, concern me. I will always support.
Yeah. We 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I get confused is you have this person that may have, with the evidence, murdered for the money to transition. Now they are on death row and get the money to transition.
Which is exactly what they murdered for.
Right.
So you're giving them exactly what they wanted.
And I guess that's where I have trouble with it.
It's rough because you don't want to, like, say, well, you know, because it is. You want to say everybody deserves to be who they want to be. But when it comes to this situation in particular, it is
conflicting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very confused.
Because he fucking took people's lives.
Yeah. And then ultimately got what they wanted.
Frick. I'm already... See, now it's hard because the pronouns change at the end, so it's going to throw me off.
I know, right at the very end. No, I totally get it. And that's why I was trying to not say anything wrong. I mean,
they murdered people to get what they want. I don't really agree that they deserve what they want because
and especially, okay, the other confusing part is especially when you're on death row, like, you know that you're going to be put to death, like, that's going to happen.
See, here's the thing with this, though.
Okay.
If it was somebody that maybe was, like, wrongly accused or something, I absolutely would want them, like...
That's a good point, and it happens all the time.
I absolutely would want them to die who they wanted to be.
Yeah.
But this fucker does not deserve to die who he wants to, or who they want to be. They deserve to live in hell because they are a very shitty person.
Well, and okay, so, like, even in the documentary that I watched, and actually I should plug what that was. Hold on. Okay, so it'll be in the show notes, but in case you are interested, it's called 2020, and the title was Overboard. That's season 42, episode 14. So in the documentary, Skylar, before transitioning, is just kind of talking to them about, like, and almost giggling and saying, like, oh yeah, I get along way better with women. I would prefer to be in a women's jail. And the interviewer was even like, oh.
You don't get to choose that.
Yeah, so it's almost like, let's pretend, because they even questioned it. They were like, is the transition, like, real? As in, was that sort of something made up to make sure that Skylar would be in a better spot?
Right.
Because if you are maybe a little more feminine, you know, if that's the way that people perceive you, would you fare better in a women's jail?
Right.
So yeah, even though there was a down payment, like, they did find a receipt, and I think it was about $500 of a down payment on the surgery, but it was questioned.
Right, okay.
So cops were like, was this just put in place in case Skylar was caught?
Just as a fallback, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm confused. There's a lot happening, but at the crux of the situation, Tom and Jackie suffered a really awful death.
Yes.
And
I'm sure anybody else that died by his hands did too.
Right. Yes, John Jarvie, of course. Yes, good point.
Because him, like, leaving him on the side of the road and shit.
It's so gross. Yeah. So that's the story, and yeah.
Yuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yuck.
Whoa.
My mind just keeps wanting to go back to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, going overboard, and it's just really messing with me, so I need to get out of this room.
Well, yeah, and sorry if I said anything incorrectly. Like, we really do try to be correct in the way that we present stories, especially about transgender. We don't want to mess that up.
We support 1000%.
Yeah. So just want to put that in there. We are doing our best. If I said something wrong, you can kindly let me know, and I can work on it in the future. It's all about learning.
Yeah.
And helping each other.
Yeah.
So do we want to bring it back up on a higher note for the ending?
I mean, sure. I'm definitely hoping for that.
Okay, so I can't believe I'm gonna tell this.
Okay. I'm so lost right now.
You won't be in a second. So we went to see the Beach Boys, and John Stamos, I'm not pleased that you weren't there. That's not
wow,
funny.
Megan.
I'm just calling you out in case you ever hear this. I'm not finding this funny. He goes to all the other ones, but no, not Minnesota.
But I told her, would you want to come to Minnesota? No.
No, and I totally get that, but he should know how much that I love him.
Yeah.
And he should have made an exception. Or at least, FaceTime me.
That's really what you needed to say.
No, here it's coming.
Oh. I was like, wow.
No, I'm just trying to get ready for this.
I don't know where you're going with this.
Yes, you do. So, we're there at the concert.
Oh, I know where you're going with this. I'm back on board.
And I have not even been out very many times this year.
Megan put beer in someone's butt.
Like right in their TBH. I poured a whole can of beer up somebody's asshole. Hannah and I go get a beer and we walk back and I sit down and I'm trying to put my wallet in my purse.
I watched this go down in slow motion.
And all of a sudden, the beer slides right through my butterfingers. And instead of, just rolling under the chairs, it stops under the chair in front of us and geysers
explodes.
A fucking beer enema shoots up her ass. And we're scrambling to get this beer. And Mom leans down and gets a pile of beer in her face.
It blasted her because she leaned down to grab it.
Like a geyser.
It took a second to explode. It was the weirdest thing. It's like it hit the ground and it all was calm for like a split second. And as my mom reached down, it just like all over the place. Yeah. All over her.
On her face, up the lady's butt.
And the poor people around the chick that got the beer enema are getting blasted with the sides of it.
I got the row in front of us, the row behind us. Yeah. And
she literally hit everybody with it.
And I think the lady was trying to do like the Minnesota nice thing, and she wasn't really looking back at me when I gave her the beer enema.
She thought it was raining, and then she was like, but why would it rain on my butt? Not the rest of me.
And so then I, of course, apologize, and I thought everything was fine, but Mom decided to further my embarrassment and keep apologizing to the people in front of us and behind us over and over.
Everybody was talking about it.
Yeah, so nonstop, people are going on and on about it, and then someone in front of us is like, oh, switch seats with me, and the lady is like, oh, if I do that, you might get beer up your butt. And I was not even buzzed for this. I was fully sober.
It's true.
It was even more mortifying and embarrassing, and what an experience.
I mean, I definitely talk with my hands and knock beers out of people's hands all the time, but I have never, ever given a beer enema.
No, and then the lady looks back at Mom at one point and says, it felt like a baptism, and I was
that's
like,
right.
I was like,
were
Mom,
you getting baptized?
Like, we might need to tell this lady that that's not a baptism.
I mean, like, I'll get baptized in beer, but I ain't doing it
up the butt.
Up my TBH. I'm just saying.
Oh my God, I can't believe I'm putting this out there.
What if she listens to this?
Oh my God, that'd be so funny.
She calls us and goes, I'm the one you gave the beer enema to. I would die. Oh my God.
I would probably have to send her like a gift basket.
I would. I definitely would with beer in it.
Yeah. And then maybe we could get like a shirt made for her. And I'm picturing like maybe a skeleton that's got like that, oh no face.
Oh my God.
And is trying to like clench his butthole.
I love it.
There's beer
his
geysering
TBH.
up
He's
it.
clenching his little TBH.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh.
So there you go.
Now that your embarrassment is out there.
Yeah. Beach Boys, if you saw that, call me.
Good Lord.
Well, at least we had fun.
Holy crap.
I can't stop laughing now.
All right. You were done. You were done.
Time to go. All right, so make sure to follow us on any of your podcast apps. Tell us the stories you want to hear. Like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Leave us a voicemail. Maybe you want to share some of your embarrassing stories.
You can do that.
drinkingthekoolaid.com is our website. If you have listener stories, send them to drinkingthekoolaid@yahoo.com. Leave us a 5-star review if you love us. Tell your friends, tell your cats. Bye.
Bye.